Heyo everyone, it's AJ, and today it's Monday. And you know what that means. It's Manga Monday! So, happy Valentine's if this is still Valentine's Day by the time this comes out. And I thought we would do something slightly different because you'd think, oh great, it's Manga Monday on Valentine's Day. We're going to get the typical romancy manga. Well, guess what? No, I'm doing something slightly different. Yes, it's still about love, but it's not about romantic love. Yay! Well, not entirely. Not entirely. Given that Valentine's Day is the celebration of love, given that you have all your different kinds, like parental, familial, and everything like that, we don't need to stick to romantic love. And I have got the perfect manga to show off. And essentially, I just want to really showcase this one because given that on this channel, we have talked about this artist, or manga artist, a lot, I had to bring in the love from the other side. Or love on the other side, I should say. Because it is by the same author, or mangaka, as the girl from the other side. So, you know, it's going to be good. So, essentially what Love on the Other Side is, it is 6 wee short stories by the same author, and just basically showing off different kinds of love. Most of them are platonic, so it's actually quite nice to have a slight kind of change. So, granted there is what you'd probably call more kind of romantic love in some of the stories, but not all of them are like that. Most of them are like friendships developing and whatnot, or so it's quite a nice wee different kind of take on love, which is nice. And it's not the typical, it's here's two people kind of thing. So most of it, well, I say most of it, literally all the stories are between a person and a creature of some kind. For instance, the first story is called See You Tomorrow Daisy, which is actually what's on the cover. The big bird is what's called Daisy. And essentially, this is one of the shortest stories within the short stories. And basically, the lassie here is been dealing with an illness and whatnot, and has been going out to these daisy fields just to kind of give herself some peace and kind of grow and whatnot. And she meets this lovely wee bird, Daisy, and just through seeing Daisy every day, Daisy comes by and visits her essentially, and kind of that whole kind of bird thing is here's some gifts kind of thing. They kind of build up their little relationship to the point where people have started noticing that she's been getting better, she's been feeling happier and kind of holding herself stronger, and the doctor thinks that she's been courted. And it's just yeah, she's been courted by a bird. But no, it's just the happiness that Daisy just gives her is just so nice, and it's just right, I'll see you tomorrow, Daisy. It's just every day just the same, just that little spark of happiness. So that's the first story. And then we go on to the second story, which eventually kind of leads up to more generic kind of romantic-ish love. And it's called The Wolfman and the Girl Wolf. And it starts off with this man who's really looks like a wolf. Is in the companionship of a lassie that acts like a wolf. You know, those wolf children that's the ones that have lived in the wild but they've been grown up by wolves and whatnot. So it's that kind of situation. So majority of the story is this man basically teaching this lassie how to be human. That's essentially what it is at the end of the day. And just trying to teach her how to say things in English, how to cook, how to clean, how to dress themselves, how to clean themselves, how to walk properly, how to hold themselves. And then towards the end, obviously they get to a point where she's acting like a human again. I say again, but you know what I mean, given a respectable person within humanity kind of thing, or society. And essentially they end up getting engaged and be married, and there's just the fact that, oh yeah, we've been mates this whole time, because obviously she still has that kind of mindset of like, oh, wolf. And it's like, you are a wolf. So that one's the kind of more typical, well, I say typical love story. It's not really a love story in that kind of like proper romantic cliche way. Then we move on to the third story, which is called Emergency Rations and Bountiful Feasts, which is the start of the darker stories. So obviously not everything can be happy jolly, because it's obviously the same artist as The Girl from the Other Side. So, you know, not everything can be happy. Not that really everything is super happy within this story, or in the stories. There is some pain within like most of them, so this is probably the darkest one, or the second darkest one maybe. Depends on like how you kind of view the stories. But basically, the lassie in this is basically been kind of kidnapped and groomed to be eaten by like a kind of hawk beast kind of thing. But as the story develops, it basically turns out that the hawk actually likes them, and basically has to fight his instincts of wanting to eat the lassie. It does end with a happy note. It's like none of the stories are like bad. Like they all have like happy like kind of endings. So like obviously she's fine, and they kind of like be together and whatnot, and like with their companies and whatnot. It's not like a like romantic kind of love thing, but it's just more like he appreciates like her being around and whatnot, and like spending that much time together has just kind of warped his perception about what he wants to do. So that now moves us on to the fourth story, which is my personal favourite story of this whole collection, and it's Midnight Waltzes. And it's so sweet. Just thinking about it just makes me so happy. And it's basically this lassie goes up to like this castle like every single night, and is basically teaching the owner of this castle how to dance. Oh, so sweet just talking about it. But it's going to be fun to explain this. So the owner is basically a vampiric mouse. That's basically what they look like. At the end of the day, they're a vampire, right? But they look like a mouse. Like, they're not humanoid or anything. And like in this instance, like it's going through their head. It's like, wait, I'm not human. I can't be with this person, kind of thing. And the lassie like just keeps pretending that like they are, like doesn't even like bless her soul. She's just like, oh no, of course you're human. Like you all that. But oh, the wee vampire just feels so bad. It's so sweet, and they even ask, it's like, why do you come here? It's like, I'm not human. And it's like, well, then the lassie goes, well, of course you are. How could you be my dance partner if you weren't? But they're so sweet. Like, they're honestly so adorable. Like, so adorable. I generally just love, like, rereading that story. And it's just, like, the rest of the guests are just all like wee animals, like from round about as well. It's like the wee woodland creatures, and they have like a wee dance every night. It's so sweet. Oh. But like the wee vampire like tries their best to like be the best for this lassie, because they make them so happy by like coming up to teach them how to dance and dance all night with them every night. It's so sweet, honestly. I would highly recommend this just for that story. It's just so nice. So from there on, we get on to the fifth story, which is called The White King, and it's basically about a boy and a lion. So a lion escapes from a zoo, essentially. That's kind of how this works. A boy keeps visiting this lion in the zoo, and then they build up a like kind of relationship, like a friendship. And then there's a point where the boy stops going to the zoo. Like, he can't get in because he goes like when it's closed, kind of thing. Like, enters into like the cage and whatnot, and keeps essentially the king happy, because he's a lion, so he's the king, because obviously he's king in the jungle and whatnot. And then the lion starts getting separation anxiety because the boy stops visiting them for a bit. And then it's like basically the next time the boy comes, like, he gets really upset. It's like, you left me, why didn't you come back? You made me snap because you never came back. I was like, oh. It's just like, oh dear. And then basically the boy helps the king, we'll just call him the king escape, and then they basically, because his home is not really a happy home, like the wee boy's home is not a happy home, and essentially they run off together to like just be happier together, like to get away from their toxic environments. So, because basically the lion was getting bullied, I think that's the best way to put it. The king was basically isolated and bullied within the zoo, and then the kid wasn't exactly in a happy household. So that's just like a nice kind of happier story, is like their friendship just going off and like they're helping each other to help themselves. So I think that's quite nice. Like I said, all these stories aren't generally like your typical kind of love story. It's just like love of life, essentially. I think that's probably the best way to put things. And then like the love of seeing the good in people. Which then leads on to the last story, which is one of the kind of other kind of darker ones. And it's called Those Without Eyes. So the main lassie in this is blind, and she's been kidnapped. Through her eyes. I did not mean it like that. Yes, blind jokes. Through her perspective. There we go. Nailed it. From her perspective, she's been kidnapped by this beast that's, pretending to be human by using... Oh, jeez. I need to say this. By using a corpse so that when she touches, like, a hand, it's like a corpse hand, but not him because it's like a big fuzzy thing with 4 arms. And... So, for the first part of the story, or the majority of the story, it's her trying to keep the beast happy, like doing what it asks, like, but she gets like fed and everything like that, like doing clothes, like doing chores, just being very nice to them and whatnot. And she has like a house and all that, and she's like safe that way. But she tries her best to try and escape, like she tries to plan it out. And then one time she tries to pretend that, I didn't realise you were home, hi, how can I help? So then she gets locked in her room, even like the barricades on the windows, but she manages to kind of rip them off and escape through the window. The beast kind of realises after like kind of hearing the clinks of, the tears of the wood coming off the window, and she ends up back out in the forest. And then she thinks she bumps into somebody that's going to help her, because she's like screaming, help, the beast is getting me, the beast is going to eat me, because within this village that she used to stay in, it was like knowledgeable that this beast ate people, hence why there was people missing, like dying, blah 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 blah. Turns out the forest is infested with a fuck ton of wolves, like a wolf pack, like massive, so they start attacking her. And then the beast that's meant to be her captor is defending her, actually, like jumps over her, and the wolves all attack him. So it's kind of like that scene in Beauty and the Beast, when Belle runs off, well, not runs off, but like she's allowed to leave and then she gets caught off with the wolves, like that. And then she realises it's like, wait, you've not been the one that's been killing people, it's been the wolves that have been killing people, and you've been taking the people in and trying to help them, but then because it's a wee beast, doesn't understand like how to fix people, doesn't realise once they're dead, they're kind of dead, as he accidentally rips somebody's head off to try and fix the fact that their neck was like all the way around. Like, bless him, he's just trying. But then, so then at the end, obviously, them having a wee understanding of what's actually happening, she actually gives Creature a wee hug, and then just goes back to their wee house, because she realises, well, she's actually been safe there the whole time, and the beast has just literally been protecting them, because the wolves got their family, got her family. So, yay! Like I said, it's just a wee bunch of wee short little stories, just with kind of a little different twist about what love really means and whatnot. And it's not obviously like, it's not always romantic. Not that there's anything wrong with romantic love. So, but yeah, so that's that. This is just a wee kind of wee smaller, like, Manga Monday, just not as in depth as like usual other ones, but I just thought it would be nice to kind of recommend something that wasn't kind of super cliche for Valentine's Day. So yeah, so check it out, you can. So it's the same artist as A Girl from the Other Side, so Nagabe. If you're gonna be like my experience, this one was quite hard to find, but I don't know if that was just the case last year, because like I said, it took me about, God, it must have taken about 4 months for me to get it, and then even then, I think I still paid over retail price for it because I really wanted it. So, actually, what's it saying about? Okay, it doesn't say British pounds on the back, but I think I paid about £14 for it. And it's roughly, it was like $13.99 for American dollars, so that's definitely not that far in the UK. It probably should have been about like $9.99 or maybe like $10.99 or something like that. So there's that. So just warning, but I do love it. I think it's a good wee collection of short stories, and it's just something slightly different. But anyway, until next time, I'm AJ, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.